no murder weapon that has been recovered so far, and the crime happened months ago. With the case relying so heavily on circumstantial evidence, will the police authorities be able to build a watertight case and prove the conviction? Or this will be yet another case lost in sensationalism, where the prosecution fails to prove the case beyond reasonable doubt? First up, a special report. The details emerging from the Shraddha murder case continue to get murkier. The police has got further extension for 5-day remand. But the investigation moving forward is going to be an uphill task for the Delhi police. As expected, the investigation will have to piece together key details. Aaftab's confession to his heinous crimes alone won't be enough to prove his guilt.
The police has demanded for the narco test and the court has allowed for the narco test. So the court has asked the consent from the Aaftab and Aaftab has given this consent for the narco test. Police has not able to collect substantial evidence. On that we have Aaftab can be convicted.
Let's have a quick recap of the investigation so far. Aaftab had earlier stated that Shraddha had left him on the 22nd of May, but a transaction of about 54,000 rupees from Shraddha's account to Aaftab on the 26th of May led to this confession. The police has recovered about 10 pieces of body parts. The DNA test and the results are still awaited to confirm if the body parts belong to Shraddha. The police has also identified the vehicle which was used by Aaftab to dispose of her clothes. The narco test will be conducted very soon. But the major challenge here again is that the results are highly unreliable from an evidentiary point of view. The police has also recorded the testimony of Shraddha's doctors, parents and friends. Shraddha's old chats with her manager also reveal how Aaftab physically abused her frequently.
She came to us with a complaint of severe backache and neck pain. She had difficulty in walking and while walking and moving her neck. Within 2 to 3 days, she responded well to treatment and then we discharged her. She was accompanied by that person, that boy, Aaftab. While taking history from the patient, I asked to Shraddha and that boy also, but they didn't tell us any history about any assault or fighting.
The major challenge before the police is now to find some concrete evidence against Aaftab. The police needs to build an airtight case to prove his guilt. And everything in this case will hinge on circumstantial evidence. The key question is, will the police be able to prove this case beyond reasonable doubt and piece together critical evidence against Aaftab? Beyond reasonable doubt and circumstantial evidence, these are the two buzzwords you would hear when you talk about this case. Even if one piece of circumstantial evidence or the chain of events is disproven in a court of law, the entire case falls down like a house of cards. But how is it that the police can prove this conviction in a court of law? We tell you about 3 critical facets of any trial which are very, very crucial to proving a case. First of all, the act of committing the murder, or called the actus reus. Police need to prove that Aaftab strangulated Shraddha. This is a crime that happened in a room in Delhi in Chhatarpur area, and here the crime happened. This is something that they need to establish from an evidentiary point of view, not the mere heated argument led to the murder. Can he actually claim that it was a crime of rage or a fit of rage? Well, actually not. The manner in which the body was disposed of. The testimony by the doctors, parents, friends on record to show how he physically abused Shraddha. The evidence of physical abuse is not establishing murder in any way. It only establishes room from the house will be very, very critical, because that's where the actual crime really happened. Investigation needs to connect all the evidence together. They need to build an unbroken chain of causation to prove this case in a court of law. Evidence beyond confession, how Aaftab disposed the body, even if let's presume that Aaftab deposes before a magistrate is recovered, is going to be very important. But any body part, if it confirms through the DNA test that it belongs to Shraddha, it will be confirmed medically and legally that she is dead. Results of the DNA test on bones are still awaited. It will take at least a week for these results to come out. Confession to the police is not admissible in court. That is a stated proposition affirmed by various judgments of the High Court. It rests on the circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence is anything beyond a primary evidence. In this case, the primary evidence has been destroyed. Any weakness in the evidence can lead to the downfall of the entire case, like a house of cards. If even one brick of the chain of event is broken by the defense, then this case will not be proved. That particular date strangulated Shraddha and killed her. So, beyond sensationalism, what is it that is needed to secure a conviction, and what are the likely scenarios in which the police really can secure a conviction? Is that possible? What do the precedents really tell us? Joining us on the broadcast is Mr. Yashwardhan Azad, the former IPS officer. We also have Mr. Tanveer Ahmed, who's a senior advocate, Dr. Ranjit Singh, who's a forensic expert, and Dr. Nisha Khanna, who's a counsellor. Mr. C.P. Singh, he's a former Sessions Court judge, is also joining us on the show. Mr. Tanveer Ahmed, I want to begin the debate with you. You've handled some very high-profile cases. You're a seasoned criminal lawyer. And this entire case does...
The public at large and for your viewers is that in any criminal indictment, there is only two kinds of evidences that surface. One is a matter of ocular testimony. That means you have an eyewitness account. And if there is no eyewitness account, then the circumstances enveloping the commission of the crime are not only to show and to prove on pieces of strong circumstantial evidences that the murder happened inside the apartment, but also the desecration and the, God forbid, the chopping of the dead body also took place there. Which means that the forensic investigation upside down will use the best forensic techniques, including blue light examination.
Okay.
What blue light does is that what is not, what you cannot see with your naked eyes, blue light can demonstrate it. For example, if you have chopped somebody and there are blood stains all over the floor, they're on the wall, they're in your apartment.
Yeah.
Now that's a very, very strong piece of circumstance for the court tomorrow to return a finding of guilt.
Okay,
secondly,
so there are I want to take this point to Mr. Yashwardhan Azad as well. There are two key facets you're talking about. One is that evidence collected from inside the room is going to be critical because that's where the crime happened. Core of the case, and if that is the core of the case, you need to make that confession to some degree admissible in a court of law. Mr. Azad.
Well, first of all, let me tell you that Delhi police is very well aware that the confession to the police is not admissible.
Yeah.
Secondly, this has been made out. In this particular case, there is overwhelming circumstantial evidence. Number two, the mens rea, the intent is very clear. There is a lot of evidence pertaining to that. And number three is the hard clinching evidence of the DNA, which should be coming. It takes a while when you have these... well,
even if you find body pieces in Mehrauli...
To the renting of the house, to the position where we say where the last scene, both the people were there. Now, that can be established also by the location of both the mobiles, which is at one particular place. His mobile is already there. The cigarette butts on the body and the last 2 years. No, DNA is separate from circumstantial evidence.
DNA can also be the circumstantial
evidence is totally different. You can check with any lawyer.
No.
And
we have Mr. Ahmed also on the broadcast.
And the mens rea, that is totally different.
All right. I want to bring in Mr. Dr. Ranjit Singh also, who's...
He has collected from the apartment where he chopped the body, where he used the water to flow the blood. There is a possibility that blood might present at some places over there. And as Tanisha rightly said, that the blue light, the luminol test, by that test, we can find it out if there is some stains. Chances that after 6 months or after 5 months, blood stains present into the fridge. But if it can be closely seen on the rubber side of the fridge, where we all see that black spots So possibility cannot be ruled out that where the blood can also be present. Apart from the physical evidence, we have to be very carefully examine the digital evidences, like digital footprint from May 18 to till now. Physical evidences both, if we can collect, and by that the blood sample which collected from the that particular flat and the body pieces which is recovered from the scene of secondary crime scene, that can be matched with the DNA, and it can establish that yes, this is the body of Shraddha.
Court judge, Mr. Singh, when you see a case of this nature, and at the district court level or at the sessions court level, that's where the real challenge really is, because evidence is presented at this point in time. In your understanding, whatever has come out in the public domain so far, what is the biggest challenge for a case of this nature for it to move in the direction of securing a conviction by the Delhi police authorities? Mr. Singh, if I'm audible to you.
That Hello?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Please go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. As you already said, circumstantial evidence can prove the guilt only if there is no broken chain in any case. This apartment, as some my fellow brothers said.
Yeah.
Yes. Unless that is there, I don't think the crime of murder can be attributed to Mr. Aaftab. And only confession, which doesn't reveal any further discovery of a new fact, which was revealed by the Aaftab himself.
Exactly. Yeah.
But police has to go further to establish it that it was the 18th, so that the last seen witnesses can say that on 18th we saw both of them together, or they were at the same place. Then it can be proved prior to the crime may lead something to influence the mind of the judge.
Yeah.
But after the crime, his conduct is very important. Yeah. If after crime, his conduct is that which is not usual, something unusual happened.
Backtracked and she withdrew her complaint. Some sort of compromise was worked out. But not in the spirit of blaming the victim, but one wonders aloud as a woman that when you have choices to walk out, when you're financially independent, why is it that women choose to be in abusive relationship? Is that a choice? Is that
very calm, the cycle, and then the tension period is created, and then the violence happens, and then again the honeymoon period, which is again very sweet, good memories, full of love. So this cycle of abuse is such where the most of the time women get captured. As another thing is that they went to the police station, filed a complaint, and then withdrew that complaint because again he convinced somehow, and she still had a hope the person will change. I think so through your channel medium, I want to say to the people, if any person who is abusive to you physically or emotionally, you can't change.
And the statistics are alarming in this country, the kind of abuse women face in intimate relationships in this country. I'm short of time. I want to take in a last word from Mr. Tanveer Ahmed, who's with us on the show. Mr. Ahmed, talking to you about the evidence and coming back to it, is it possible that this alleged person, the
forbid, now we have lost the girl like we lose so many women? There are so many things that happened. Madhya Pradesh, you saw how a man chopped his girlfriend and recorded it and telecasted it all over the world. What is important for the cops is that if they're not able to find lynching evidence, able to find the best of the bus on the transit, and the bus was just going on.
Yeah.
So what cops should do is try and find out CCTV footages from nearby places or where possibly the routes he took, so that he can be found in transit carrying something on his hand. And tomorrow a question can be asked by a court that Mr. Aaftab, this CCTV footage is there. You seem to be carrying a bag in your hand or something suspicious activity, or if he has taken, certain routes or he has gone to certain places which are not in his usual routine. Then a lot of answering will be required to be done.
Sure.
So let's hope that the cops are able to find good forensic evidence, because the duty that we do to the society is not to, relegate this to speculation or anything else, but first come first, investigate hard, vigorously, and try to serve the justice in this case. Ultimately, The murder is a foul crime and it's a crime against the society.
Absolutely.
Therefore, we are obligated to deliver justice.
Absolutely, and that's the tone and tenor in which we've tried to present this entire show. What is the evidence that the police can collect? What is it that the other high-profile investigations have told us? And as most of our eminent panelists pointed out, there's something to be learned from what has happened in the past, from the earlier cases. And what are the critical areas that perhaps the police needs to address? And Dr. Nisha Khanna making some very important points when it comes to intimate relationship and violence. Those are the different contours of the debate. I thank Mr. Yashovardhan Azad, Tanveer Ahmed, Dr. Ranjit Singh, Dr. Nisha Khanna, and Mr. C.P. Singh for joining us on the broadcast. Thank you so much. Here's a special conversation that we're presenting to you. We have with us on the broadcast Karan, who's Shraddha's colleague. Now, back in 2020, Shraddha had reached out to Karan seeking help because she was facing physical abuse. Karan, thank you so much for your time and for reaching out and for speaking on this issue. I want to know from you, when is it that Shraddha reached out to you first? What kind of help she sought from you? And in what capacity did you know her and for how long?
Finally, in the month of November 2020, so that I wanted to make sure that, everything was okay and she was not hurt that bad. And unfortunately, the picture she sent me, she was really hurt very bad under her right eye. There was a black patch. There were bruises on her neck. And that's when, I reached out to Godwin. He's one of my friends from Vasai, where Shraddha was residing at that point of time. So Godwin, along with his friend and help of Mahila Mandal, took Shraddha to the nearest police station to file a police complaint, where Shraddha actually gave a written complaint against Aaftab. And after that, Godwin took her to the hospital to get her treated because she was hurt very bad.
Yeah.
Then suddenly, I don't know what happened, what Aaftab told or promised Shraddha. But then she messaged me stating that she visited Aaftab's house where his parents were living. And they promised her that Aaftab will no longer live with her and he will no longer be part of her life and he will never harass her. After the incident of November, in the first week of December, Shraddha actually got hospitalized because of the beating she had, gotten from Aaftab. And she had badly hurt her back and her neck, due to which she had to get hospitalized. Plus,
one wonders, Karan, that why did Shraddha withdraw her complaint? I mean, she went to the police station, she gave a written complaint, but she withdrew. And more importantly, what you're saying also establishes that Aaftab's parents were aware of his conduct and violence towards Shraddha all along.
Absolutely. They were very well aware about what their son was doing with her. Because, as I mentioned, this was in November was the first phone. That's when she opened up and she told me, the reason I was not reporting to work for the last couple of days, I was taking so many leaves, is because of this reason, that he was beating me very badly and I was not in the state to report to work. She was actually traumatized.
Yeah.
Plus, she, you could actually make out by looking at her face that she was moving into depression because of this reason. But somewhere or the other.
Yep. Karan, I appreciate that you've come out in the public domain. I appreciate that you're narrating this story because this does add some very important information about what Shraddha went through, how that relationship was, and what led to this gruesome murder. And as we pointed out during the discussion, evidence, circumstantial evidence, the forensic evidence is going to be the deal breaker in this entire case, which the Delhi police is investigating right now. Slipping into a very short break.
So law has been upheld. That is what makes one happy.
25 students fell ill after an alleged chemical gas leak in a lab in Hyderabad's Kasturba Government College. Affected students were rushed to a hospital. Forensic teams also reached the spot to ascertain which gas got leaked. Prime Minister Modi will inaugurate the first greenfield airport in Arunachal Pradesh, Doni Apollo Airport, Hollongi, Itanagar tomorrow. The foundation stone for this airport was laid by the Prime Minister himself in February 2019. Work on the airport has been completed within a short span of time despite the challenges due to the pandemic. Muslim community has backed a decision by the Qatar government to ban the sale of beer in stadiums just days before the World Cup starts in the Islamic country, as people gathered for the traditional Friday prayer in mosques. In Islamabad, the High Court Chief Justice has said that as per intelligence reports, there were fears of another attack on the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan. He passed the remarks while hearing a petition filed by traders regarding road closures due to the party's protest. Remember, Imran Khan was injured during a rally that he was taking out. This was a long march in Wazirabad on the 3rd of November. Elizabeth Debicki may have won rave reviews for a portrayal of the late Princess Diana in the new season of the royal drama The Crown, but the Australian actress says the role felt insurmountable when she first took it on. When asked, she said that she tried her best with embodying the late Princess Diana in this latest season, season 5 of The Crown. Pankaj Tripathi will next be seen in Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee's biopic under the direction of Ravi Jadhav, produced by Bharushali Studios. The makers announced the film titled Main Rahun Ya Na Rahun Ye Desh Rehna Chahiye. The film will revolve around the political journey of Vajpayee. Speaking about playing Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Pankaj Tripathi expressed, "It's my honor to portray such a humane politician on screen." Prime Minister Narendra Modi took a dig at Pakistan and China for skipping the International Ministerial Conference No Money for Terror on counter-terrorism financing in the national capital. The Prime Minister said certain countries support terrorism as part of their foreign policy, while some others support it indirectly by blocking action against terrorists.
There must be a cost imposed upon countries kinds of overt and covert backing of terror.
Vikram S, India's first privately developed rocket to be launched by the Indian Space Research Organisation from the spaceport in Sriharikota, about 115 kilometers from Chennai. Vikram S is one of the world's first few all-composite rockets that has 3D printed solid thrusters for spin stability of the launch vehicle.
It is indeed a new beginning, a new dawn, and shall I say, very appropriately as our team members have put it, a new prarambh in the journey of India's space program. And very many thanks to Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji, who has made this effort possible by opening up the space sector to public-private participation.
Kerala Governor Arif Mohammed Khan has hailed the decision of the Kerala court order to dismiss Priya Varghese as an associate professor of the Kannur University. Governor Khan said also take a look at the dig at the Chief Minister, saying that in Kerala, money, job and position is only for the cadre. He further added that Varghese wasn't even qualified enough.
Has come out in clear terms that she was not even qualified to be summoned for interview. So law has been upheld. That is what makes one happy.
25 students fell ill after an alleged chemical gas leak in a lab in Hyderabad's Kasturba Government College. Affected students were rushed to a hospital. Forensic teams also reached the spot to ascertain which gas got leaked. Prime Minister Modi will inaugurate the first greenfield airport in Arunachal Pradesh, Doni Apollo Airport, Hollongi, Itanagar tomorrow. The foundation stone for this airport was laid by the Prime Minister himself in February 2019. Work on the airport has been completed within a short span of time despite the challenges due to the pandemic. Muslim community has backed a decision by the Qatar government to ban the sale of beer in stadiums.
Welcome back, and there's a massive political showdown over Congress leader Rahul Gandhi's remark on Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. During the Bharat Jodo Yatra in Maharashtra, the Wayanad MP claimed that Savarkar wrote mercy petitions to the British and accepted pension. We have heard that before. Now, the Congress leader further claimed that Savarkar begged the British and called himself their obedient servant. The BJP has hit back and has also hit the streets against the Congress party and the Congress MP demanding an apology from him over his comments on Veer Savarkar. Now, the remarks over Savarkar have landed the Gandhis into trouble, especially Rahul Gandhi into legal trouble, as the grandson of Veer Savarkar, Ranjit Savarkar, has filed a complaint against Rahul Gandhi. Congress' own ally Shiv Sena has taken exception to the statement. But the repeated attacks on Savarkar also point out how his legacy remains a politically contested one and perhaps haunted by political whataboutery and polarization. A legacy which has never been understood with its own nuance, with a depoliticized prism of history. First up, a special report.
Savarkar politics has been reignited. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi, who is on a Bharat Jodo Yatra, made a controversial statement in Akola, attacking Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. He even showed a copy of Savarkar's letter seeking mercy from the Britishers.
ये सावरकर जी की चिट्ठी है जिसमें उन्होंने अंग्रेजों को लिखा है I beg to remain, sir, your most obedient servant. ये मैंने नहीं लिखा, ये सावरकर जी ने लिखा है.
Savarkar's family were quick to react on Rahul Gandhi's statement. His grandson has even threatened to file a police complaint against Rahul Gandhi.
इनको लगता है मैंने जो बोला वो इतिहास बन गया, इसी गलतफहमी से हुआ है. अभी हमने पुलिस स्टेशन में कंप्लेंट की है तो इसकी तहकीकात करेंगे और पूरा इसका न्याय होगा और इनके ऊपर कार्रवाई होगी.
The BJP went all out against him. The Saffron Party staged a protest demanding an apology from the former Congress president. They also labelled Congress as an anti-Savarkar, come days after his allies in Maharashtra demanded the Bharat Ratna for him. The Uddhav Thackeray faction of Shiv Sena is now anticipating some cracks in the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi.
भारत जोड़ो यात्रा चल रहा है, उनको अच्छे समर्थन मिल रहा है. महाराष्ट्र में सबसे ज्यादा समर्थन मिला तो वीर सावरकर का मुद्दा लाने की जरूरत नहीं थी. उससे महाराष्ट्र विकास अघाड़ी में भी दरार पड़ सकती है, मैं आपको बता रहा हूं.
This is not the first time that Rahul Gandhi and the Congress have attacked Savarkar. The former Hindu Mahasabha president was at the centre of several Congress campaigns. But the question which we are asking today, is Savarkar politics a discussion on history or just histrionics?
History or mere histrionics? Joining us on the broadcast is our panel, Mr. R.P. Singh, who's the spokesperson for the BJP, Arshpreet Karyal, who's the Congress spokesperson, Mr. Devesh Khandelwal, who's the author, and Raghav Avasthi, who's an advocate and RSS thinker, is also joining us on the broadcast. Raghav, I'm coming to you first. Your thoughts on what Rahul Gandhi said? Not
biography of Veer Savarkar in court. So during the course of my research, I actually read these two books. And what I've realized is that at that point in time, this was the modus operandi of a lot of freedom fighters and revolutionaries, because the idea was to somehow get out of prison so that political work could continue, because of course if you are in prison, then there is no political work that can be done. So this 3 steps forward, 1 step back is not something that was new by any stretch. Or what he did is of any sort of contemporary relevance to the Congress party, except for the fact, of course, that it alienates a certain section of voters. And I mean, alienating voters is something that Rahul Gandhi is actually very good at doing. He, of course,
you've laid the ground for how historically various injustices have been covered by the Congress party, allegedly by the BJP. It is often said that why are you bringing up these things? Let's talk about inflation, let's talk about price rise, let's talk about, the contemporary issues. Then why is it that you continue raking up this entire controversy around Savarkar?
Of course, that is what we keep hearing from the Bharatiya Janata Party. However, their actions differ from their words. What the Bharatiya Janata Party said yesterday, they had a problem with the cutting of a cake. They made an issue out of a cake, not the issue, an issue wasn't made out of the people that were being cut, that were being thrown, that were being cut into pieces and, were being thrown at the length and breadth of Delhi. And number 2, we want to ask from the Bharatiya Janata Party, first things first, do you support the amendments made in the letter or are you against the amendments made in the letter? because the Bharatiya Janata Party hasn't clarified the stand on this.
No,
Number
Ashpreet,
two,
there's an interesting question that Raghav has also put forward, and he has said that for the longest time, it was only much later that the slogan of Purna Swaraj was adopted by the Indian National Congress then, which was fighting for the freedom struggle in this country. But for the longest time, many people working for the betterment and for the freedom of this country identified themselves as British citizens. You can't deny that history, can you?
see, one, I hope I would be allowed the same amount of time
Yes,
without
yes.
interruption
Go ahead.
like the gentleman before me was allowed. So first things first, like I said, why the Bharatiya Janata Party says, why you talking about the British during Bharat Jodo Yatra? Arey bhai, then it was the British that todowed India. Today it is the Bharatiya Janata Party that is todowing India. So Mr. Modi can do his man ki baat all the time, and he has a problem with us doing some other person's man ki. It was
Okay.
Birsa Munda ji, the tribal leader.
I think I've given you a fair amount of time. I have limited time, so I want to go
May I
to...
just conclude?
Yes.
See, all I'm
quickly.
saying is he was offered land. He was offered land, you know. He chose death instead. That is the idol of the Congress party. And the Bharatiya Janata Party chose Veer Savarkar.
Raghav, a quick response from you, and then I want to bring in... Not this way, gentlemen, please. Ashpreet, please. I'll come back to you. Raghav, make your point. Raghav, make your point.
The tariff, why we happy to book a staycation at the Aga Khan Palace, where your leaders who collaborated with the British were being incarcerated. At Aga Khan Palace, I'm happy to go on a staycation. You tell me if you are able to spend even one night
at a
at
time.
the cellular jail.
I want to bring in
You won't be
Devesh
able to
Khandelwal
last
ji into
for
the
one
discussion.
night.
No, I'm
You
not
won't
going to
be
allow
able
the
to
screaming
last
match.
one
I'm not
night.
going to
आप
allow.
एक रात भी नहीं रुकोगे. Yeah,
Well,
he's
that
not
is
going to be
something- that
able
is something that
to
people
last
of
one night at the
Bharatiya
cellular
Janata
jail.
Party
And his leader Mahatma
Raghav
Gandhi
and
was there at the
Ashpreet,
Aga Khan Palace.
guys,
Arey, I
please,
want to
you
have a
can't
staycation
yell
at the
on
Aga
each
Khan
other. This is
Palace.
not the civil way of debating. I don't accept. No,
मुझे लगता है कि थोड़ा सा रिजिड भी हो जाएगा, लेकिन इस बात को कांग्रेस को समझना चाहिए कि भारत जोड़ो यात्रा से पहले राहुल गांधी जी को लाइब्रेरी में पढ़कर सावरकर का या खुद कांग्रेस का भी इतिहास पढ़ लेना चाहिए। मैं आपको दो इंसिडेंट बताता हूँ। 1948 में एक किताब रिलीज हुई जिसका नाम है टू द गेट्स ऑफ लिबर्टी। उसकी कॉपी अवेलेबल है, आप पढ़ सकते हैं। और उसकी प्रस्ताव कुछ चिट्ठी में भी उन्होंने इस बात का जिक्र किया है कि ये जो वॉर ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस है वो सावरकर की किताब के बिना अधूरा है। तो मुझे कई बार ये लगता है कि ये जो अननेसेसरली ये पॉलिटिकल डिबेट्स हैं, ये इस तरह की जो एक दूसरे पर लांछन लगाना और विशेषकर सावरकर के ये माफीनामा और वगैरह, इस पर मुझे लग रहा है रोक लगानी चाहिए और खुद कांग्रेस को इस बात को एडमिट करना चाहिए।
See of Savarkar.
Anushka, I'll answer that, but before that, let me just put one point across.
Ji.
Is Rahul Gandhi the grandson of Mrs. Indira Gandhi or not? If he is the grandson of Mrs. Indira Gandhi, then he should abide by what Mrs. Indira Gandhi said about Savarkar ji on 8th May 1980, that he is the remarkable son of India. It is Mrs. Gandhi's letter on record. So, and then also, if they believe in Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, then let's understand 18 January 1920, Narayan Rao Savarkar, the brother of Veer Savarkar ji, has written to Mahatma on 25th January 1920 saying that please write another appeal, make it appeal like a political prisoner, and that letter was written on the suggestion of Mahatma Gandhi ji, and which was rejected later on.
Vikram
But
Sampath
let me
also records
point
that in
today
his
another
book.
point also here also.
Yeah.
Just another second, Anushka, another second.
Yeah.
Please. The history is not only which suits Congress. The history is which is the fact of the country. 1885 Congress was born. Congress came into existence.
तो मुझे लग रहा है कि वो भी एक बार हमारे कांग्रेस के जो लोग हैं उनको समझ लेनी चाहिए, पढ़ लेनी चाहिए। उन्होंने स्पष्ट रूप से लिखा, मैं कोट कर देता हूँ कि सावरकर की रिहाई के लिए जो मैंने मेरे पॉसिबल था, यानी मैं जितना मैं कर सकता था मैंने उतना किया है। यानी खुद गांधी जी भी इस बात को लगे हुए थे कि सावरकर भी किसी तरह से रिहा हो जाए।
historical evidence that has been cited right from Mahatma Gandhi to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and to Indira Gandhi. Can Congress party really ignore its own history when it comes to Savarkar? 1 minute.
Yes, thank you. See, number one, while Mr. Nehru, Mr. Gandhi, Mr. Patel were in jail, they weren't writing any letters to get out of jail. They stayed inside the prison for years at length. Number two, R.P. Singh ji asked me a question.
But I want to reiterate what Devesh Khandelwal said, that history and the freedom struggle was about different freedom fighters contributing in their own way. And the legacy of Veer Savarkar one day, hopefully, will be spoken about with its own nuance and without the political whataboutery. I thank everyone for joining us on the broadcast. Before I end the show, there's some breaking news coming in. Let's go to that. And after a humiliating loss to England in T20 World Cup 2022, the BC
so close. So why this is important is that this is coming right after the T20 World Cup semi-final exit. While a semi-final in itself wouldn't be considered too bad a performance, but this is something that where India has been stuck for a very long time, which is not winning an ICC trophy. So at this stage, of course, the BCCI wants to,
story. So clearly, after that humiliating defeat at the T20 World Cup, a big step taken by BCCI. Well, with that, it's a wrap from me on this edition of Brass Tacks. Mario Shakil joins you.
நாங்கள் 3 நாளிலேயோ 3 நிமிஷத்துலேயோ இல்லைன்னா 3 வருஷத்துலேயோ நாங்கள் வெளியில் வரலைங்க.